Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial I have decided, even though we were supposed to do a Christmas project today, I have decided to work on our temperature blanket. Someone messaged me earlier and mentioned something about when do we stop our temperature blanket. Well, if you have done your math right, we should have stopped it maybe about a week ago. So let's talk about that real quickly. At the end of this tutorial, you will be around here. You would have gotten to this stage. Now, don't worry about that for now because you'll see it throughout the tutorial. But where you should be, what you should have is 26 rows of 14 squares. So you've got your 14 down this way and 26 rows worth. That's what you should have at the end of your year, if you will. Then you will be left with one square. And you're thinking, oh, what am I going to do with the one square? Now, I talk about that throughout the tutorial anyway, so I don't want to confuse you anymore. But I show you options of what you can do with the extra square. Instead of doing a full row of the square, you can start doing some of the base row here or the border row in that color. Now, I talk about that throughout the tutorial, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. What I am going to tell you guys is for this part of the tutorial, you will need your colors that you're using to join your piece with first. And then if you want to use that extra color, which I talk about throughout the tutorial, you will need it for this final row, which I get you to head off on your own to finish. In a week's time, you can join me back here and we will do a border row right there. This is what I like to call a foundation row for the border. Then later we will do our border row right there. All right. What is the border row, I hear you ask? I don't know. I haven't designed it yet, right? Don't you love it? Don't you love it? But I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention that one lovely lady, she knows who she is. She messaged me earlier this morning and she said, well, Mary, what are we doing? When does the blanket end? What are we doing? And it just dawned on me that it actually has already finished. The year for this blanket has already come up and passed. Right? It's past and gone already. So I thought, let's get it all ready, get you guys started, and then you can join me in a week's time for the border. And that way everybody will be up to date. All right. But I do apologize for the delay on that. I was waiting until I can wash that pretty as a peacock blanket, which is right there. Don't you love it? Now, it was going to be part of a video vlog or, you know, a conversational video, if you will, which we're still going to make that a part of it. We're going to do that next week when we add the border to this blanket right here. All right. So in that video where we get to add this border, we will do the washing and the blocking as well. So I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to let you head off on your own doing the close up of our blanket and getting our base row ready for the border row next week. Good luck all. Alrighty guys, this is where we are at the moment. I have done my very final row of squares and we'll talk about that in a minute. And my last square was cream. But it's not exactly the last square on the list, okay? But I just wanted to show you where I was at. I did my last purple there, and then I went around and did my cream, and I'm ready to do that final row there that we've been doing all along across here, all right? So let's head over to the workstation, and we'll talk more about the squares and what colors we have left. And I'm sorry about the lighting there, guys, but the blanket is so big and I can't fit it in. Check it out. You should have 26 rows of 14. So these are my 14th row, my 14 squares, and I've got 26 rows of them. All right, so let's head over to the workstation and we'll talk more about what's going to happen next. Alrighty guys, I can't put the whole blanket on the table as you know, but as I mentioned before that this was my final row. That's the lavender and that's the cream. What I want you to do is turn it around like you would normally any other row. Now, for those of you who are joining us new and don't know this, yours truly does like to pop a stitch marker in my loop when I walk away from my work. Now, I've done that all year round with this because we've been spending a whole year on it. I know it's going to be moved around, tossed about, and, you know, brought in and out of tubs and so on, and I didn't want to lose my stitches. But that's just a little tip here I occasionally pop into my tutorials. All right. So let's take the last chain undone And let's take, for argument's sake, let's bring this up a little bit, that you have done your very last cluster there. What I want you to do, I don't know, I brought it up, let's go back, is turn your work. And like normal, you're chaining your 2, 1 and 2, and you're finishing off your corner like so. I'm trying to adjust the blanket. It's really difficult now, guys. It really is. Just bear with me. That's hilarious. All right. So let's take all that thread out. Mine's on top of the big skein here because I only just restarted another skein. Can you believe it? All right. My apologies there. 2. Trying to get organised. And 3. So like normal, you're going to go across your piece as though you're going to do another row, even though we're not going to do another row, all right? But just like normal, you are going to continue, like so, all the way into your next space, or corner space there, I should say, doing your chain 1 like normal. I found this very difficult for the whole blanket, and slip stitching into the top of that really, really tight chain. Hopefully yours isn't as tight as mine, but I kept catching 1 loop only. We really want to get through 2 loops and not miss it completely. There we go. I got it. There it is. And you can see it. There's the 1 loop there and the 2 loops on top. It was really troublesome for me all the way through this blanket. Chain 1, and then you're doing your normal cluster set. Now you know what you're doing for this side. So what I want you to do is continue the side, all right? But once you get all the way along your side like normal, let's pop a stitch marker in that corner right there. Let's just do that. Continue along that side, get to that stitch marker. Don't add any more because we're going to talk quickly now about the reason why. Don't add any more colours, don't do any more rows. Get to that corner and I'll meet you back in a moment. But let's just talk quickly about our booklet right here. All right, so where we started off, now if you remember correctly, I pasted December the 21 on the back of my new calendar, right? And we started on the 10th of December. Now I don't know what day you started your blanket, I'm not really sure, but we started there. And then every Thursday, we ended up with a fortnight, 2 weeks worth, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So every second Thursday, I should say, it was a fortnight. Every Thursday, obviously, it was half the row. But every row ended up on 14th day, right? So by the time I did my whole, piece and everything, I didn't mark mine. Oh, hello. I didn't circle mine because I knew what I was doing. But I got to the very last page. Now, this was November. I marked there because it was the last month. And then I marked here. And then I went, uh-oh. We started on the 10th, so actually we should have finished on the 9th. That tells me that we are 1 day short, which was going to happen. And we already knew that because if I remember correctly, we had the discussion with one of our subscribers, Marty, and he said, but you're going to have extra, you're going to have an extra, what are you going to do with that extra, da-da-da? And I knew exactly what was going to happen. And then I thought, let's probably use the extra row for 2 things. Ordinarily, I should have put another lavender at the end of my, wherever it was, white, or started my new row with the lavender and then worked another 2 weeks. That's what I would have done ordinarily. But we've already done our 26 weeks. Right here lands the 26th fortnight. Okay, so we've done our 26th fortnight. If we do any more, we're going over the annual, calendar, right? But we still have 1 day left. What we're going to do with that, let's close it up and let's talk 1 day. Right, you could, if you wanted to, do the 1 day and then do a whole row of 13 different colours for the next different days. You could do that and have an extra 2 weeks, or actually it works out to be 1 week and 6 days extra. Or you could do another thing where you could finish off here where we're going to in a minute. We're going to do a border row, okay? So finish off here and I'll explain what happens after we finish off what you could do with the other colour, all right? So if you want to do that extra row here and have an extra 13 days on top of what we already have, then by all means do the extra set. But if you don't want to do the extra day, you use the lavender colour as a border row, or one of the border rows, because it's actually classified as 2 border rows, even though it's not really, it's only 1. But we'll talk about that later. You could do just that, all right? So I'll let you think about what you want to do. But in the meantime, we who are not going to do the extra row, just crochet to this corner. And then we'll talk about what we're going to do next. All right, so I'll meet you back here once we've done that one side. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this section right here. I asked you to get to your stitch marker, which we've done. We're going to jump into the corner with the stitch marker. Take that stitch marker out. All right, we're going to jump into that corner and do a simple corner, which is 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3. Yep, chain 1 and 2, turn your work, 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3, whoops, and 3. All right, I'm doing well today. Now jump into your very next space like normal and do your 3 double crochets. Simple as, let's pop a little one of these in here for now so we can talk about the next step. Big step, the next step, you're going to love it. What I want you to do is go along the 26 rows exactly the same way you were doing your 14 sections. Get to that corner, complete it. Go all the way across your 14 and get to that corner, complete it and wait for me there so that we can talk about what we're going to do next. All right, a very big step. So what you need to do, finish that row right there, or that side I should say, finish your second side. You've got 2 sides to do. Meet me back here and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, oh it's far away. I asked you to get to the corner of your final area, and if you haven't done your corner, it's 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets. And in turning your work to the side, you still have this last square left, and this is the stitch marker we put in at the beginning of our temperature blanket way back in December of last year. Yep. All right, so what we're going to do here, once you've done your corner, you're jumping into your next space like normal with your 3 double crochets like normal. Now we are going to slip stitch to join, but before we do, and that's slip stitching in that stitch marker there, which we're going to do together, we're going to talk quickly about the other color that we still haven't added. All right, now if you are anything like me, you would need to add your lavender. All right, if you still are very pedantic and really want your lavender to be added to the year, because that is part of the year after all, you could slip stitch through here, cast off, add that lavender, and then do this next row that we're going to do in the lavender. Yeah, now this is the second last row that we're going to do. The border row we're not doing until next week, all right? But I want to show you how to do this row today. I'm not going to add my lavender. What I'll do is I'll pretend to add it like this. So you grab your lavender. For those of you who are using the same color, just wait for me there. We're going to slip stitch in a minute. But for those of you who are using the lavender or whatever color you're using, you jump into that very next space, which is the corner spaces that we attach together. Jump into that corner space right there. Yeah. pull your loop through and chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. You're going to do 2 double crochets together from this corner to the next corner. We're all going to do that later anyway. So what you're going to do is start your double crochet like normal and pull through the first 2 like normal. Yarn over your hook, jump into the next corner, pull through 2, and you now have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and then you're going to do a double crochet in that space. We're going to do it again with the brown anyway, but I just wanted to show you if you're changing to your color that you didn't get a chance to add, then that's what you do. All right. Whoops. If I can get organized. I want everyone who is going to use the same color. It's still not close enough. Here we go. To slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker, I'm going to take my stitch marker out because I think it's just been in there way too long, and I can actually see a bit of fluff and I don't want to split any yarns. So I'm going to pop my hook in that stitch, pull a loop through like normal, pull it through to the loop on your hook, and you have closed up your piece from the beginning of our blanket. Get excited. Jump straight into that next stitch with a slip stitch. Pull the loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Into your next stitch, pull the loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook into your space. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. You are now at the area where the purple color was before. So now you're going to chain 1, 2 and 3. And by the way, purple, I forgot to put a stitch marker in yours, so you might want to pop a stitch marker in the top of your 3rd chain. All right, and in this space here to that space, you are joining 2 double crochets together. Let's move that stitch marker a little bit back there. So yarn over your hook, pop your hook in the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over your hook, jump into the very next corner space. Yeah, you're in that corner space, you want to go into that one there, pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook, then do a double crochet in the same space. All right, now that is exactly where my blanket's fallen all over the place here. That's why I do that crooked. Sorry, guys. That's where the purple should be, and that's where we should be. Now, your job is to continue in that manner, and I'll show you again, so don't stress, you're not going to miss out. Continue in that manner all the way across, either in your purple, in your brown, or in whatever color you chose. The very next row, you will change back to this brown, okay? For me, I'm doing the whole thing in brown. I'm going to omit that last day completely. I'm not even going to worry about the last day, okay? But if you wanted to use that last day as a row for your border, then you could. The other option is you could use the last day for 2 rows. So you've got your normal row and then your border row. Just stay focused on count and how much yarn you will need. So let's talk quickly about that. For this particular row, you will need between 50 and 60 grams of yarn, wool, acrylic, cotton, whatever it is you're using. Roughly between 50 and 60 grams worth. Or if it's a small ball of yarn, you'll need the whole ball. If it's a medium size, you'll need 3/4 of it. Or if it's a large size like this, which is 200 grams, you will need 1/4 of it, okay, or 1/2 of it even, yeah? The very next row after that, you're going to need exactly the same, maybe right up to 70 grams, between 50 and 70 grams for that row. So it depends on if you have enough yarn amount for both the rows. So let's say for argument's sake, the purple, you've got about 200 grams or 180 grams in stock. You can do both the rows in the purple or whatever else colour that you have, right? Or you can do the one row in the purple and then change back to this color and do that row as well. It depends on what you want for your border. My border, I'm going to omit the purple completely and do 2 rows, 1 row of this in this color and then the border row in this color as well. But again, your choice. All right, I just thought I'd leave it up to you if you wanted to add that extra row in the color that of the one day you still haven't added. I hope that's making sense to everyone. Otherwise, just do this. If it's all too confusing, just continue in the same way we're doing here. All right, so you've done your first corner set where you've joined both those corners together into one set. You're going into your space there to do a normal 3 double crochets. That did sound very confusing. I do apologize, guys, if it was a little bit confusing. And now you actually have another space here, all right? Before you only had 1, now you've got 2. So yarn over your hook straight into that next space there with a set of 3 double crochets. Yeah, that's simple, that part, okay? The tricky part is that joining the 2 corners together. But once you do it a few times, you really get it, yeah? So we're up to the 2 corners where we're joining them together again, and you'll always know the corners, they'll have the line in the middle, yeah? So pop your hook in the space and just do 1 double crochet like normal. And now we're doing the 2 together. So yarn over your hook into your space, start your double crochet like that, hold it there, yarn over your hook into the next corner space. You're jumping over your stitching there in the space and you've got your 4 loops now. Yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 3 and do a double crochet in there as well. All right, then you are jumping straight into your very next space with 1, 2 and 3. Yeah, one more space. 1, 2 and 3. And now you have your corner again. First double crochet, a little bit of fluff there, okay, and 2 together. Start your double crochet, hold it there, yarn over your hook, jump into your next corner, pull through 2, pull through 3 and do a double crochet in the same stitch, and then straight into your next 2 spaces with your 3 double crochets each. All right, I'm sure you understand what you're doing here now. Continue doing your side, all right? So you're going all the way along here. That's a very big row, very big row, very big row. Woo. Now I've popped a stitch marker in my corner. Oh, hello, let's get close so that you can see. But that's the corner right there. You get your last join as you go, then you go 1, 2 sets as normal. Then you jump into your corner and you do a normal corner of 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Then you jump into the next, you do your sets like normal, and then you do your corners and then you do your sets and you continue along that side. And you do the whole thing until you get to, now I'm leaving you these instructions because I'm not going to sit here and let you watch me do this whole blanket. It'll take me forever. Get to the very final corner right there and then do your next 2 sets. Once you get to those next 2 sets, or actually the very last set, meet me back here and that will happen in a week's time. I'm going to let you head off on your own to do this so that you're not having to wait around for me to show you what to do next. You just head off on your own, finish this row. You can slip stitch to join if you know what you're doing. Otherwise, just wait for me there. But even if you slip stitch to join, do not cast off because there's going to be a border row in this color, or you can cast off and do it in any color that you like. Once again, you can cast off this colour and do it in your final day that you haven't completed. All right, I'm hoping all that made sense with the day. It's an extra day. We don't know where we're going to put it because we can't do a whole row of 14 because of it. So let's just do add one row of that if we want. Yours truly is not going to do that. I'm going to omit the day completely and just use the koala for the rest of our blanket. All right, so thank you very much for watching, guys. All you need to do is continue in that manner over and over again. Get to the end of this row. Once you get there, meet me there and I'll join you in a week's time for the border. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share and do all the wonderful things that you guys, well, pretty much always do for me. Well, I say always. But don't forget to join us on our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons and 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time, especially on Saturday mornings as we have a thing called Live Antics, where you as a subscriber gets to choose the colour combination of our very next project. Get way too excited. Thank you for joining me and ciao for now.